Language is one of the most primary facts of our existence. It's right dead smack in the center of what it is to be human, the ability to tell a story, because it's not an intellectual thing, and it's not just a scream, it's not pure emotion. It's a melding of those two things, which is where we exist as human beings.
At their bare bones, stories, well, Hollywood stories at least, can be simply described as an experience of escape packed into a 2-hour story, which have provided the basis of Hollywood's appeal to its audience. Now, this idea of escapism in film isn't a specifically groundbreaking one. However, in his book on entertainment, Dyer suggested this: there being 5 utopian parallels that can be drawn between cinema and reality. Those parallels being scarcity and abundance, exhaustion and energy, dreariness and intensity, manipulation and transparency, and finally, fragmentation opposite community. And it's in this idea of an escape which will be focused upon today, more specifically how escapism relates to Dyer's theory of utopia in cinema.
Milo visits Dad at the office.
You're leaving already, Dad?
Yep, it's late, and I have to get to the office.
Dad, I'd like to come to work with you.
Well, you see, the thing is, I wouldn't have much time to take care of you.
Pretty please, Dad? You know, someday I might want to be an engineer, like you.
307 presents one major reason for why audiences attend films: spectacle. On one mission, the team must airdrop via their cars onto a highway to rescue a hostage. As the camera stays in the plane for the entirety of the opening, there's no obvious visual effects shots until the midway point. In her book on spectacle and cinema, Tasker stated how, though we may know, generically speaking, that the hero or heroine will survive the dangers of the narrative, we are also involved in a dynamic that encompasses both success and failure. During this opening, the banter between characters on the subconscious level tells the audience that nobody's in any conceivable danger. It's a joke to them.
As your friend, you know I'm concerned about your well-being, which is why I took the precaution of putting some adult diapers in your glove compartment.
No, can you just chill out, man?
Through this, it allows the audience to become fully immersed, giving them permission to just lose themselves in the spectacle. This is furthered by the dramatical feel of the perfectly computer-generated 1,000-mile drop at the midpoint.
Just when you didn't think it could get any better, huh?
You're escaping from a mundane world to one that is fantastical, or from one that is routine to one that is adventurous. Modern people feel very locked into routine. Get up on Monday, we're going to work at the same time, we're going to go to school at the same time. But because we're used to it and we understand how the things work and we understand the limitations of our work, it feels mundane. So what matters is that it feels mundane to you.
This concept is what's referred to as utopianism, where it can be described as presenting what utopia would feel like, rather than how it would be organized. 3 ways Furious 7 adheres to this feeling of utopia, thereby reflecting an escape to our ordinary lives, is through energy, intensity, and community. After the camera dollies backwards, revealing the sky beneath the characters, an exterior shot finally occurs as the cars begin reversing out of the plane. The digitally enhanced cinematography allows for the audience to surrender to the aleatory play of fantasy and remember that the film's illusionistic effects invite. Nothing more impactful is offered than the visually enhanced wonder of the characters now skydiving via their cars. Presented here is why Fast and the Furious is a billion-dollar franchise. As opposed to creating well-crafted characters and themes, it finds success in its ability to keep pouring out some variation of utopia through spectacle.
Got the whole spot going out like that. Lay back, hot in the cut like that. Speaker box blast,
Stop him! Don't let him get away!
We about to go on like that. Switch it up.
Through the mind game genre, eXistenZ demonstrates the way movies offer spectacle in story. This genre typically presents the audience with unreliable narrators, mendacious shots, and parallel worlds that are not marked off from the film's basic level of reality. During its final scene, the film conceals whether or not what you're watching is indeed reality. The scene begins as if it's set within the base reality of the film, with the characters discussing their thoughts on the games they just played.
It was fantastic how me and you were. I had a lot to do in that first scene at the church, but I thought the character was boring.
With this sequence being a prime example, one major attribute of eXistenZ is that the film constantly sets up what the audience assumes to be reality before whipping the rug from underneath their feet.
eXistenZ is paused!
The film ends with the two leads killing the creators before being questioned on whether the game is still in play.
Hey, tell me the truth. Are we still in the game?
Repeating this formula over and over by having to deduce each new sequence on it fitting into reality is considered a spectacle, and in this spectacle lies the utopian values of eXistenZ, its ability to create communities and discussions through ambiguity. Dyer discussed how those communities unlocked through the media presents a clear reflection to the fragmentation of everyday life. With eXistenZ leaving an ambiguous ending in order to stray from traditional storytelling, it invites the audience to forever engage and theorize about the endless possibilities for this piece of art. The mind game genre often behaves as thought experiments, taking to their logical or illogical conclusions the inherent tensions and unresolved contradictions of both classical and the post-classical mode. With more conventional stories, the film simply presents the goals, obstacles, and reality in which the characters inhabit, meaning the audience is taking a somewhat passive role in the viewing experience. By inhibiting this almost video game-like nature, eXistenZ gives the audience control over the product they've consumed, and in this control, in this ambiguity surrounding reality, comes the utopia.
Art to me is nonverbal communication, so it's one of the ways that we connect with people without using words. Dance and music and painting and sculpture all fall into that, and it's just a way to express an idea that's even more universal than talking. I think art impacts us because we need beauty, and I think we crave it, and that's why we love, sunsets and to stare at the ocean or to stare at a fire, and it fills some need that's not as concrete as food and shelter and companionship. I think it fills a broader need.
With more conventional films, as they demand a more passive audience, the pleasures of them, in contrast with the mind game films, comes from a multitude of things. Whether that be the visual effects and heavy action of Furious 7, or the philosophical discussions aroused by Blade Runner, all these genres of films offer different pleasures and experiences. The pleasure of the mind game film just happens to be the world of the story and how trustworthy it really is.